Us to an internship and career discussion with Dominion Energy. We're really excited to learn more from Gina and from Virginia about not just the careers, but also about Dominion Energy's leadership in the clean energy transition. Before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping. My name is Susan Sanford. I'm with the Research Triangle Cleantech Cluster, and you all joined on mute. And so just briefly, before we get into the content, as a reminder, please keep yourself muted during the conversation until we come to the Q&A portion. And I promise we will have plenty of time to ask Hillary and Gina questions. And also, as a heads up, we are recording this event so that we can share it with other students who could join us today. And I just also want to do a quick thank you to Emmett Owens on my team for taking care of all these logistics, and then to Dr. Ganji and Kirsten Williams for providing space for this conversation. So just really briefly, since we're talking with students today, I do want you to, and we're going to go right into Hillary and Gina's presentations in just a moment. I do want you to be aware of the Research Triangle Cleantech Cluster. Many of you may be from North Carolina, or you may be from out of state, but we are a membership-driven nonprofit focused on creating sustainable communities through clean tech innovation and adoption. So I would encourage you to check out our website. As we're a membership organization, there may be other organizations you're interested in connecting with. We host events regularly, and we just hosted a career fair a week and a half ago. Thank you, Emmett. And so if you would sign up for our newsletter, you can be kept up to date on some of those educational and career opportunities. And then we are just briefly in the middle of a 3-year grant from U.S. Commerce with our partner in Charlotte, Jules Accelerator. The project is called the North Carolina Cleantech Corridor, and we are connecting North Carolina communities with clean tech startups, and the goal is to drive economic development. And then if you'd like to learn more, we have plenty of career and clean tech videos on our YouTube page. So that's another place where you can find more information. So with that, maybe I'll just pause and ask Dr. Ganji or Kirsten if you have any comments before we hand it over to Virginia and Hillary.
We're very grateful to Hillary and Gina for being here today. We really happy to inaugurate this program with them. We plan to do a lot more of these events in the future. We believe that our region has some of the best talent in the country, and we'd like to highlight that as a way to draw more attention to our region. So thanks to both of you for participating in this first career event that we've done this way.
Thank you, Dr. Ganji. So can I just ask, so with that, I think that we have, Gina, are you on deck first to share more about Dominion Energy and your role as a Renewable Energy Project Manager, or do I have it backwards?
I think it's actually Hillary.
Hillary, okay.
Yep.
So Hillary, I'm going to make you presenter so that you can share your slide. And thank you again. Hillary Hall is a staffing specialist for Dominion Energy. So you can just let me know if you have the power.
I think I have the power. Can you guys see it?
It says you're starting to share.
Okay, let me know when you can see it.
Perfect.
All right, you can see it now?
Yep, thank you.
Awesome, thank you. And thanks again, everyone, for tuning in with us today. I know it's near the end of at least the workday, and students hopefully near the end of the day for your classes that you have. But like Susan said, my name is Hillary Hall. I am a staffing specialist at Dominion Energy, so I partner with the four-year colleges in Virginia, but also North Carolina, to recruit for our entry-level internships, but also experienced professionals. So if you think of a question while we're going through these slides, feel free to put it in the chat, and that way we can come back to it at the end of the presentation. So hopefully you all have heard of Dominion Energy. but just in case you haven't, here we are. These are actually pictures of our company. So we started as a canal company in the state of Virginia. If you've ever been to Richmond, Virginia, where we're headquartered, you probably know that we are situated right on the James River. So it made sense that we started in the canal business. As times changed, we also operated the first electric railway car in the state of Virginia. But of course, these are all very old photos and don't really tell you who we are today and what we're doing. So I wanted to talk about where we're going for the future. Hopefully you all are aware of our commitment to net zero. If you're not, very similar to what, the commercials that Amazon has put out, and I think Facebook has a commercial out as well about their commitment to net zero carbon emissions by 2050. We were one of the first energy companies to make this commitment, and we didn't do it because there was legislation put in place. We did it before any of that happened because we know it's what we need to do to move our country forward. So two of the ways that we are going to do this is by diversifying our generation portfolio. So one way, of course, is via solar. So that lovely picture in the middle is one of our solar farms, and I'm not going to talk too much about solar because that's Gina's expertise. And then that picture off on the far right is the construction of one of our wind turbines for the Coastal Virginia Offshore Wind Project. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but these are just two of the ways that we know we're going to be able to get to net zero. Now, these are only two options, right? So a lot of people are like, well, what else? What are you going to do? So I'll talk more about that when I get into the renewable side of our business. But these are just two of the ways that we are excited about, and we know we're moving forward with these. So a little bit more about who we are right now as a company. Like I said, we're headquartered in Richmond, Virginia, so not too far from you all. If this was not a COVID virtual world right now, I'm sure we would be in person presenting to you all because I think it's about 4 hours away from Richmond, and we typically go to the area for events. Besides the Richmond area, we're in 19 other states. We recently acquired a liquefied natural gas facility in Florida, so that's going to be our next state that we are in. We have over 7 million customers, and they all rely on us for safe, clean, reliable, and affordable energy. With that, we have over 20,000 employees. So they range from construction to engineers. Of course, those are the first two that people think of. But we have IT, accounting, environmental, we have project managers, human resources, pretty much any career you can think of, except for maybe medical, we have those job opportunities there. So if you get a job with Dominion Energy, you're not going to be stuck in the same job forever. There is a lot of opportunity to move around, learn new things, and get more experience. And then, like I talked about before, our vision for the future is to build a clean and sustainable energy future. We want the generations to come to be able to enjoy the world and innovate like we have. So hopefully you all have started to look at companies for post-grad. Maybe you're interning with a company that has a set of core values, and these are our core values. So they really are our moral compass, and they shape and define what we do as a company. So first, safety is our leading core value. We want to make sure all employees go home each day the same way they come to work. So I like to give the example of when I first started 2 years ago. We were doing an office move, and that required us to get rid of a lot of paperwork and documentation. So we were coming into work for what we called a dump the junk day, and we actually got an email about wearing the proper PPE to make sure we didn't even get a paper cut. So it is that serious. We don't want anyone to get injured while they're at work. Ethics, our reputation is everything. So we want to make sure we are upholding ethical behaviors, ethical values, and making sure we are doing the right thing at all times. Excellence. So we excel, we push for excellence in all of our business units. So I know for our company goals, I've talked a lot about a sustainable future and renewables. So that doesn't mean that the rest of our areas get left behind. We're going to keep innovating and making sure we're all practicing sustainable behaviors, no matter what area we work in. Embrace change. This is one of our newest core values. So our CEO implemented it at the beginning of 2019. And he really saw that, we have to keep changing and adapt to keep pushing forward. So if we were in person, I would have you raise your hands and let me know if you have heard of the company Blockbuster before. Back when I was growing up, there were Blockbusters almost on every corner where you could go and rent a movie. Well, now you don't really see Blockbuster out there. And that's because Redbox and Netflix put them out of business. So we don't want to end up like Blockbuster. We want to keep innovating. We want to keep creating and pushing forward and being a great company. And our last core value is One Dominion Energy. So teamwork really encompasses everything we do. We do things as a team and we have shared values to keep moving us forward. So Gina and I don't work together every single day on every single project, but it doesn't mean we can't come together for events like this to work as a team and promote Dominion Energy. So I wanted to talk about diversity and inclusion because it's very important to us at Dominion Energy. And we don't see it as just diversity, right? Diversity and inclusion go together and you can't have one without the other. So we see it as more than just a person. We value workplace diversity. So your perspectives, your background, everything that you've done make you unique, and we value that. We also want to make sure we are working with diverse suppliers. So for example, if we are acquiring new like writing pens or new t-shirts that say Dominion Energy, we want to make sure we're inviting minority-owned and female-owned businesses to the table and having the opportunity to work with us. We also want to make sure we're supporting a wide variety of initiatives within the community. So these pictures, you can see a couple of ways that we give back. At Dominion Energy, to foster that culture of diversity and inclusion, we have these employee resource groups. Some people refer to them as affinity groups, but really, if you want to think of them kind of bringing it back to, in school, they're kind of like clubs or organizations that you have on campus, right? So anyone can join these employee resource groups. You don't have to identify as something to be a member. And they really seek to build community within the workplace. And it goes back to being able to bring your full self to work. We want everyone to be comfortable with who they are and feel like they don't have to cover up who they are to come to work. So these are the 8 we have right now. We actually have another one in the works right now. So very exciting times, and we hope to have even more in the future. So our intern program is something we're very proud of. It's a very robust program that we operate each summer. Our internships are paid, very important, they're paid. And we do also have a housing stipend available for anyone who would qualify. So if you took an internship that was more than 50 miles from your home address, you would qualify for that housing stipend. We generally give that to you in a lump sum, and you can use that for housing, gas, a rental car, whatever you might need. Now, typically, in a pre-COVID world, our intern program was 10 to 12 weeks in length. This past summer, we did have to convert quickly to a virtual program where it was only 6 weeks long. And we had to do that because we found out in March that we didn't know what we were going to do for our interns. So we were testing platforms, figuring out a schedule, and really seeing what we could do virtually this summer. So we're very excited with how it turned out. We were still able to offer professional development for our students. We still had an intern social series, which though it wasn't in person, I think it was very engaging for them. We also offer job shadowing and typically a volunteer project for interns to work on together. You can see from the numbers on the screen that we have pretty diverse amount of students, so over 250 each year. They represent 22 states, 70 schools, 80 majors. So definitely a big program. Now, once you accept an internship with us, we also have scholarship programs in place. one of them being the Diversity Scholarship Program. And now that is a scholarship available for minority and female students. It's a $5,000 reward, so definitely something awesome to apply for. But like I said, there is an application process and it is competitive. So once you receive an internship offer with us, you'll want to find out more information about that. If we have any veteran students on the call, we also have a similar award for you. Again, application process and $5,000. So both very great opportunities to put some extra money in your pocket while also working for us. Now, while I'm talking about internship and veterans, I wanted to mention that 1 in 5 new hires at Dominion Energy is a veteran. And that is mainly because we found that the values that they learn in the military and their army and their training really sets them up for success at Dominion Energy. The teamwork, the safety, it just goes hand in hand with what we do at Dominion Energy. So we partner with an organization called Troops to Energy Jobs, and they actually work with veterans or transitioning service members to help them understand how their career in the military will transition into civilian life. We also have a military skills translator on all of our job postings. So it will tell a veteran or a transitioning service member where their rank matches up with different positions at Dominion Energy. So we're very excited about that and a lot of the awards that we've won for our commitment to the veteran population. All right, so here are those lovely renewable projects that I promised you I would talk about. Now, I'm going to preface this with, I'm not an expert. So like I said, I work in staffing, human resources, and I learn everything that I can about these. But if there are questions that I don't answer, or if I potentially say something wrong, please forgive me. We can definitely get it right, though. If you have additional questions, I can put you in touch with the right person. So first up, I have one of our microgrid projects that you may have heard of. It's in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, and it's actually been there since 2014. So I didn't even know about this until I think a year ago. So it's a combination of a battery, solar panels, and wind energy put together with a diesel generator to see how much power they can create. Now, this is still, I think it's still a pilot program. They're doing research on it, monitoring and collecting data to see, hey, maybe, yes, we can implement this somewhere on a larger scale, or maybe we have to explore different options. So that is the microgrid. And now CVAL is the lovely acronym for this project, or Coastal Virginia Offshore Wind. Hopefully you all have heard about it recently in the news. We are very excited about it. It is the second of its kind in the United States. It's 27 miles off the coast of Virginia, and it is going to be a very big project. We are going to be able to, when it's done and completed, provide 100% clean energy to 650,000 homes in the area. So offshore wind is going to be amazing once it's completed. A lot of people ask me about jobs, when are we hiring? And some people have even asked about the operations side of things, which that's very far off sea. So I don't know if I could do that, but kudos to everyone that is excited and interested in working there. So right now for this project, we are hiring a lot of the like the leadership positions and the construction side of things. So not a lot of entry-level stuff at this time, but I do know there will be opportunities eventually for entry-level talent. Renewable natural gas is something that we're very excited about. This project, when we first started it, was referred to as the Pig Poop Project. So I'm glad it has a better name now, but we have partnered with different farms. It started with Smithfield Foods, which is right down the road from us in Richmond, Virginia. But we partner with them to convert the animal waste to renewable natural gas. Now, the next slide is going to show you exactly how it works. So they cover the ponds and where the pig poop or the animal poop is to cover it and collect it and then transport it to the facility that converts it to natural gas. And then similarly to a regular power station, it then converts it and delivers it to homes and businesses. So very exciting project, pretty creative and an innovative way to create clean energy that a lot of people don't know about. And I believe the next slide is going to be Gina.
Good afternoon, everyone. As I've been announced, I'm Gina Wise, also Virginia Wise is my given name. In terms of my background, I have a BS in environmental science from Roanoke and a mismatch of a master's degree, which is hard science and engineering based. When I finished those up, I went right into regulatory compliance and I worked for the state for 7 years, looking mostly at water permitting, water compliance, and enforcement with regards to the Clean Water Act and the related Virginia rules. And when I left the state, I've been with Dominion Energy for about 10 years, as you can see. I've done multiple jobs in multiple departments. I started in the environmental services group, again, doing the other side of the table of water permitting and compliance. So I went from being a regulator to the regulated. And it's been about 5 years working on coal-fired plants and some gas pipelines. And then I moved fully into gas support, which led me leaving the environmental group to go work technically in the legal department, although I have little legal training other than my experience in the regulatory field. In that role, I worked as they called it gas transmission certificates specialist or a consultant. And basically that was working on projects like our Cove Point export facility in Lusby, Maryland, and I worked on various other pipeline projects along the way, trying to get the first step of a gas pipeline project or a gas transmission project permitted, and that's through the FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. After 2 years there, I jumped ship again. I went over to power generation, and I'm currently a Renewable Energy Project Manager. My focus is utility scale solar, which is a little different than the micro scale that we talked about a couple minutes ago. Hillary, if you could advance the slide. So just a little bit of background to kind of differentiate from the micro scale. Utility scale solar is, it's exactly what it sounds. It's larger. It's on meant to be servicing directly the utility as opposed to a homeowner. So say my house has solar panels on top. That's not necessarily a microgrid, but those solar panels are servicing my house. And if I have extra, I could put them on the distribution line, which then goes out to utility customers. Utility scale solar is a little different in that all of the energy there is sold directly by the utility to wholesale buyers. So it goes from the power generation facility, either on distribution or transmission lines, and then it goes out to end users at that, as opposed to selling to a specific end user. With regard to the Dominion Energy solar fleet, right now we have almost 70. We are so close, literally in the next little bit, we will have 70 facilities operational in 9 states. You can see the states that we operate in and the amount of megawatts DC per state illustrated in the map over there. That totals up to just 2,500 megawatts that are currently in service. But we also have slightly more than that actually in development right now. All that to be said, we will be developing a substantial amount more of solar utility scale generation in the next 15 years. As you can see there, it's listed at just shy of 1,600 megawatts. And most of that is as a result of the Virginia Clean Economy Act, which has us having a little over 1,600 megawatts by 2035. And some of that is actually considered small scale, which is not utility scale. It's like less than 3 megawatts. And some of it is also going to be built on what we call brownfield sites. And that's taking a piece of property, not necessarily a farmland, but let's say I'll use an example. I have a drag strip that's about 50 acres, and the drag strip isn't currently operating, so I'm looking to convert that into a solar facility. That would be an example of a brownfield site, taking a site that's been previously developed and turning it into a site that can be used for solar generation. So we're looking forward to a lot of growth in this area. The folks on my team are currently hold a breadth of knowledge. It's interesting that the team is relatively new and expanding very quickly. I've been on this group for a little over a year, and they hired about 7 or 8 of us, I want to say, all at one time, or about the same time last year. And all our backgrounds are a little different. My background, as you've seen, is an environmental focus. Most of my coworkers, one has a background, he came from finance, one came from real estate. A couple of them came from the construction project side of things. It's really interesting how the team has come together and that we're all pretty much doing the same job. We have the same title, but we each have our expertises that we bring to the table, which is super helpful in fleshing out a very well-rounded team. Not sure what else you guys would like to know about. I don't know if it's time for the Q&A. Is that next?
Yeah, I'll just go to the next slide. There it is. And wrap up with this is our new slogan. So actions speak louder. So what does that mean? Obviously, it's pretty straightforward. And I know Gina and I have told you everything that we're planning to do and everything that we're doing. But I know we still have some people who oppose the large energy companies and think we're the bad guys. So we hear those thoughts and those comments. So we just want to say, let our actions speak louder than anything else, and we'll show you what we're going to do with the future.
Thank you, Gina and Hillary. We could dig into a number of different subjects. I'll just go ahead, open it up for Q&A from students. Or Dr. Ganji, did I hear you about to say something?
No, I wasn't. Please go ahead and open it up to students.
Okay. If you, just a reminder, you're probably on mute, so if you have a burning question, if you just unmute. And if we have crickets or a lot of shy students today, I have plenty of questions to ask you both.
It looks like someone raised their hand. It went away, so I can't see it now. I think, was it an Edward? Eric?
Hello. Yeah, it was nice to meet you. So I kind of have 2 questions, and thank you so much for coming and speaking to us today. My first question was in regards to the 15,900 megawatts of new solar projects. That number seems like a little obscure. How did y'all? Is it because you already have the projects lined up and it equals 15.9, or is that just the goal?
So we have, in Virginia, we have a mandate from the government to have 16.1 gigawatts of renewable energy. And I believe it's that the 15.9 gigawatts is to be slated to come from solar. Does that help?
Yeah, and so that's just in Virginia alone, that solar project, or?
That's in, I believe it's, I don't want to speak out of turn. So we do have a North Carolina portion of our service territory. And I believe that the facilities themselves are in Virginia, but it could service portions of North Carolina, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, great, thank you. And then my next question was in regards to internships. On the website I looked earlier today, I noticed a lot of the graduate internship programs were more geared to engineering students. Will there be internships for MBA type students, either in the renewable or business structure?
So that's a good question. For right now, most of our internships are posted. However, there could be a couple more coming out. So our positions are posted like October and November timeframe. I have not seen one that is going to be for MBA students. But if you are on our website, there is a way for you to actually create a profile, and you can turn on a job alert, and that way you can put in a keyword for intern and then MBA, and that way if it does come out, it'll be sent to you via email and you can apply it that way.
Great, thank you.
Another piece of advice for anyone, if you are a senior getting ready to graduate, if you have already graduated, or if you're going to be completing your MBA and not able to find an internship and you're interested in working here, our entry-level positions will start out with the keyword associate. So that is something else that you can write down in that keyword search. Also, I will say the renewable space is hot right now. Everyone wants to work there. So don't pigeonhole yourself to only looking for renewable related positions, right? Gina, I think you said the team was about 5 people right now. I think that's what you said. And like I said, the Offshore Wind project, they're just hiring the higher level management positions at this time. So any position at Dominion Energy, you're going to be working to help us meet our sustainability goals. I know you want to work in renewables and you want to get your hands on that fun and exciting stuff, but be open to other opportunities and seek other stuff as well.
Yeah, I would love to just piggyback on what Hillary just mentioned there. My background, like I said, not in renewables, it came in as environmental. I would highly recommend that you come in really as anything that you find interesting, because there's always an opportunity there to work with folks in the renewables. And I'll just give an example. My partner works also for Dominion. He's an attorney, and he came to me yesterday. His role is not necessarily renewables. We don't have like a strictly renewables attorney, so his focus is generally elsewhere. But he came to me yesterday asking about renewables things because he got pulled into a project regarding some renewable concerns there. So really anything that you can get into, you're going to end up probably having a little bit of an experience with renewables. And just to flesh that out even a little bit more, I'll tell you, the folks I work with every day aren't necessarily on my team. My group works with the tax folks. My group works with the finance folks. We work with our corporate environmental folks. We work with, we actually have environmental staff on our team as well. We also work with our power gen engineering, and those folks aren't slated as, quote, renewable energy engineers. They're electrical engineers, they're civil engineers. They're folks that are, well, there's plenty of positions out there that aren't necessarily with the title renewable in it, but you end up working on renewables projects because that's where we're headed.
Hi, I'm Meredith. I have a question for you guys. I was wondering what kind of advice do you have for students who are looking to get into the renewables business or energy in general? Because I know you said we should not pigeonhole ourselves with renewables. So just kind of looking for like skills to develop right now, or just also like resources to continue educating ourselves on the industry. So like podcasts or books that you would recommend.
Good question, Meredith. If I can ask, what is your major?
Yeah, I'm a double major business and environmental studies. So would be interested in doing something around the like more business aspect versus an engineering or technical job.
Okay, so things to get involved with. I know we look at candidates as, we look at you as a whole, right? So we're not just looking at your academics. We're looking at clubs and organizations that you are involved in, and any leadership opportunities that you might have in those organizations or clubs. If you play sports on campus, I don't know if you can actually do that right now, but that also shows that, you know, you're juggling many things. And 2, jobs. I mean, if you're working in customer service somewhere, some people will like, oh, I'm not going to put Kroger or Target or Starbucks on my resume. But having that base level of customer service helps you be able to work with people of all different backgrounds and perspectives. So don't leave that off of your resume when you're applying to stuff. So definitely be your full self and don't be afraid to put that out there if you're working somewhere. I know we have at least one podcast that I pay attention to, but it's more staffing related, and it's focused on understanding like the military and veteran community and how they can work with us. So that one's called General Understanding, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe not the right one for you, but I will also say we have a internship posted right now. It says Intern Financial Services, I think. And that one is for business, finance, and accounting majors. So definitely check that out if you can.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll definitely look into that.
Gina, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add.
I would just echo the work on any skills that are transferable. Just because it says it may be, I can't think of a good example, but it's looking for a skill that is listed under, say, mechanical engineering. If you learn that same skill in a different class, bring it up. Because sometimes we don't know that, by the way, mechanical engineers and civil engineers take a lot of the same classes, or business analytics folks take a lot of the same stats classes, perhaps. I'm not clear on that. But any transferable skill, if you think you have the skill, definitely list it and bring it up. Or if you're looking to enhance your transferable skills, keep doing what you're doing and what you like, and see how you can grow in that skill.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, Gina and Hillary. My name's Josh. It's nice to meet both of you guys. I've been learning a whole lot today, so thank you guys for putting this on, kind of helping us. So I guess my question is I was going down more of a quant finance route, and that program for me got canceled here at UNC. It was just basic. It was just like a basic crash course in understanding risk assessment. And my major is also in environmental science, specifically with quantitative energies and understanding those systems. So I do a lot of numbers crunching, basically, and that's all I look at. I speak Greek at this point. But I really wanted to ask you guys, with entry-level positions, I worked more on the O&M side in an internship early on in my academic career. And I mean, that was cool, but it wasn't really where I wanted to be. And I realized, like, I really want to be able to kind of do what you're doing, Gina, as like a project manager, is putting together these packages and really trying to service it to where we can find investors, things like that. I know that's probably a little bit more than an entry-level position, but I'm trying to figure what are your guys' thoughts on like the way that somebody who's graduating now can kind of get involved with that? Because I mean, I've been looking at capital companies. I've really been trying to grasp both the technology that's going into building these models to really like put these packages together and get these sites funded. I don't know. Is there any thoughts that you guys can both kind of provide? Because it seems like you both can kind of hit on both sides, like the hireability and the opportunities, and also kind of like what to expect in those positions.
Yeah, so from the talent acquisition side of things, if there are any industry certifications that you can get and add to your resume and add to your experience, I know you said analysis a lot. So are you leaning more towards like data analytics?
So for instance, I went to NC State and I went through their Cleantech program and worked in the Renewable Energy Management program. So they have like you can go and do that and kind of learn how the overall project development process goes. And then like the permitting, the licensing. I even tried to work with a grad student here at UNC to set up my first site, but I'm sure, Gina, you've learned that working with clients is kind of hard with like permitting and whatnot. It's kind of hard to get a response back sometimes. So like, so yeah, I mean, kind of like, yeah, what would you be looking at in somebody who is trying to gain those skills, and where would you kind of like put them? What kind of jobs would they be looking at? And then like, I guess boiling down to it was like mixing both the scientific and financial analysis to kind of fit a role within your guys' organizations.
Yeah, Gina, do you want to share a little bit about the background of some of your team members and maybe what makes their experience unique and how they like really fit with their experience? I think that might help.
Sure. So we'll start with, since I have business analytics on the brain, our business analyst is actually leaving our group effective Monday to go be a manager of his old group. But we have have one team member who focuses on taking the data that we have and making it more of boiling it down so it can be high level enough to use in executive presentations and for high level talking points, but it also has behind it the specifics that we can talk about if we need to get into the nitty gritty. So there's that sort of background. Some of my counterparts in terms of project managers, I'll talk about the real estate guy. He actually, his background's quite interesting. He was a golf instructor for a number of years at a private club. And there, I would presume he worked on his customer service skills and also how to communicate with a vast amount of different audiences, if you will, from the folks staffing the facility to the folks that he's teaching to other patrons of the facility. And then he went from being a golf instructor to he sold commercial real estate for a number of years and then transitioned over to Dominion Energy's commercial real estate team and worked in that venture. And then he honed all of those skills into overall project management, which is really a nice way to say corralling cats. We are pulled in a whole bunch of different directions, doing a whole bunch of different things. And it's not necessarily doing the more technical work. It's finding the person who can do the technical work and get it to you on your delivery date. So that's where we all land together. Another guy, his background was in corporate finance. So he worked in that group, I think, for 5 years or so. And don't ask me what they do, because I really just don't know. I don't even understand the difference in accounting and finance, but I know that there's a difference. And he uses those skills to help us with budgeting. But yet he's also working with the O&M providers and corralling his own cats. In terms of who we work with outside of the company, which is a little different, like you said, the O&M providers, there's that aspect. So having any experience in that and bringing that to the table and understanding that perspective is definitely helpful in doing the role that I have. And I had one more thought, and I just, marketing and business development are two other areas. I don't know a whole lot about the marketing aspect of it, but in terms of the business development area, those are the groups that are going out and starting from the get-go, because Dominion, for the most part, we don't necessarily build our own projects. We rely on other folks, developers, to start the project, and then we evaluate the project on whether or not it meets our needs, and then work an agreement to acquire the project. So that 3,000 megawatts of solar power currently under development, that's all with that group right now. And those folks go out there and they look at the different projects. They look at basically the viability of a project and how it fits into our portfolio. Their backgrounds are quite varied as well. One of the managers came up through the coal plants. I'm not sure what his initial role is. I think he's an engineer. But again, it's one of those things of just getting your foot in the door and applying those transitional skills and more fully developing them so that you can apply them to your end goal. Sorry, that was a lot of words.
No, you're fine. I appreciate that. I have more questions, but I'll let other people answer. But that was good. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for doing this talk. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about opportunities your company has for like computer science or math focused students.
So we do currently have, it's either 2 or 3 positions posted. I think they are titled software engineer. intern. I don't know a lot about them at this time because our company merged with SCANA at the beginning of 2019, I think, or the beginning of this year. So if you've heard of SCANA, they are in South Carolina. They're now part of Dominion Energy. However, the mergers and acquisitions and whatever the technical term is for everything, they take time. So we are still working to incorporate some of our processes, and that includes my group. So right now, I don't have all the details around, what exactly you would be doing, but they are posted. One of them looks like it has a lot of programming languages behind it, and the other one, I can't remember off the top of my head what stood out to me on that job description, but they can be found on our careers page.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Sorry, it's not very helpful, but they are out there, so that is positive.
So I know that a lot of the jobs I was looking, or a lot of the internships are posted for locations in Virginia. If we live like full time in North Carolina, would you still suggest applying for those jobs or those internships, or waiting until there's more positions in North Carolina?
Yes. So like I said, if you live more than 50 miles away from if your permanent address is more than 50 miles from your work location, you will qualify for the housing stipend. So as long as you are open to moving for the summer into work, you would qualify for that. And I would say still apply. We do have one internship. It's in Kitty Hawk, and they do want someone local. I know that's kind of on the other side of the state from where the schools are. But if you are somewhat local and nearby, that position is called a customer project designer. And they are looking for more like business related majors. And what they do is design the flow of power from the transformers, if that is the correct term, to new housing developments, new commercial customers, and industrial clients. So it's a mix of office work and then field work as well.
Thank you.
Hello, I had a question. So I'm an electrical engineer here at NC State. I know that you guys are hiring for a renewable energy intern, and I know the position is in Virginia. So from what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm incorrect, you guys are planning to have people in the office for the summer for the internship position?
We have not decided if our program will be in person or virtual. Obviously, we would want everyone in person if it is safe, but at this time we have not made a decision. So if we are in person, if the world is different at that time and we're able to be in person and it's safe, yes, we'll be in person in Richmond. However, if we're still not able to go to the office, then it will be virtual program.
Okay, and then I was also curious what projects or what we would be doing, I guess, kind of as an intern.
Yeah, so all of our internships are different based on the group that you're working with and each role. So for example, we have, I think, 3 interns with our project construction group, which is going to be that Coastal Virginia Offshore Wind and the solar group. So I know one of those positions is going to be heavy on the data side, and you'll be looking at different information that they've collected. And I don't have the full list in front of me of what each one is going to do, but I do know those renewable energy ones are very popular right now. So the job description should tell a little more about the differences between each one. We also have an electrical engineer opening at one of our natural gas power stations. just on the state line. So it's in Emporia, Virginia. So definitely check that one out as well.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hillary, Josh Haswell here, Keenan Flagler. You mentioned earlier to put an MBA intern in the search function and be notified. Do you anticipate MBA internships being offered this summer? Or if they're not, do you anticipate hiring interns, or not interns, but MBA candidates at the end of 2020 or May of 2022, so summer of 2022? That's when most of us on the call are going to be graduating from Keenan Flagler.
Yeah, so I don't know if we're going to post an internship for this upcoming summer. And as far as hiring projections for 2022, I don't have that information either. We are still working to get the information for 2021, but there will definitely be positions. It's just going to be about matching your skills and your background to that position. So like when it's a full-time position, it won't say like MBA student or what have you. It will say like the job name and then the qualifications. So you'll want to look at those more so than your education when you're looking for full-time.
Thank you.
And for the MBA candidates, you can feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. My colleague Mary posts all of our positions digitally, and I do my best to share all of them. So that way, if we're connected, you can see when I share them as well. And that anyone on the call, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn to stay in touch. But that's just another step in the networking behind things and making sure you're staying informed.
Good afternoon. My name's Thomas McDougall. I've got a little bit of a different question for you. I'm looking to transition into a different engineering role. I'm currently employed as an engineer, going back to school to get a power focus. What advice might you have for somebody that's looking to transition in, I guess, disciplines of engineering? And what path might Dominion have for something like that?
Thomas, what did you say your focus was before? I missed. Did you say mechanical?
No, electrical engineering. I actually work for one of your suppliers.
Okay.
About 25.
25. Okay. Well, yeah. As an engineer, you probably would be able to apply for engineer 2 level and up. We definitely have some of those posted right now. Like I said, we don't have any entry level positions, but if you take a look at the website, I'm sure there are more engineer level 2 and level 3s than anything.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I've got a couple of years yet before I'm going to graduate. I'm doing the online program, master's level, so it's going to be a little bit. But just curious as to what you thought that path might be. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we have said, everyone's path is different. So it's going to come down to your experiences, your background, your knowledge, and having that good fit with a position. So I know electrical obviously fits very well with our company, but we have engineers from all types of disciplines. When I started in my role in human resources, my director was actually a civil engineer. And then we had a few other people on our team that had that engineering background as well. So you really can do a whole wide variety of things just based on your interest and where you can make yourself fit.
I think
thanks a lot.
We have time for one more brief question. I believe you, Hillary and Gina, have a hard stop at 4. So if we have another brief question.
I have a quick question.
So I'm an industrial engineer at NC State, and this past summer I had a supply chain internship, but I'm looking to get into a different department or a different industry for an internship for this coming summer. So I was wondering if you had any internships. I know none of them specifically say for industrial engineering, but would you say any are a good fit for an industrial engineer?
There are a few that just they want an engineering degree from an ABET accredited school. So I would say apply to any and all of them. I think the Coastal Virginia Offshore Wind might be of interest to you. So those are going to be the ones that say project construction. And I think those are the ones that are more on the general side of things. So hopefully that helps a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And I'll put my email in the chat too, in case there are additional questions that we didn't get to, or if you all want to connect with me on LinkedIn, please feel free to do that as well. I'm definitely here and happy to answer any questions and help you find a role with us or anywhere else.
That says a lot about you, Hillary, and Dominion Energy that you would share your contact information, really. So,
yeah.
Just, I don't know if you or Gina would like to add some closing comments. A couple of things I heard you say was, you know, there are multiple pathways into Dominion Energy. Definitely, if you're interested in renewable, that's great. But you do a great job of cross-training interns with job shadowing. And it sounds like once you get into the utility, there are multiple pathways. And overall, you're working towards a sustainability goal. So regardless of where you work, you're part of that mission. What else did I hear? I love your comment about bringing your full self to work, you know, being able to be fully who you are at Dominion. Do either of you want to just kind of share any closing advice? Put you on the spot.
Yeah, I was just going to say, don't let your degree or your experience shy you away from seeking out what you want. My degree is in human nutrition, food, and exercise. I've only ever worked in event planning and human resources. And before getting on with Dominion Energy, I worked in the healthcare field. Sorry, I can't talk. So just, you have to be open and put yourself out there and really keep pushing towards the goals that you have. I know several of you told us, you know, this is, you know what you want to do, and that's great. So just don't give up and keep pushing forward to your end goal.
And that says a lot about how creative Dominion is in looking at transferable skills too. Yeah. I'm sorry, did I cut you off, Gina?
No, not at all.
Well, with that, I want to thank you both again for your time. I mean, we could probably go another hour just picking your brain on career pathways and your experience, but thank you on behalf of the students who joined. Thanks to all the students and the job seekers who joined, and Dr. Ganji and Kirsten and Emmett. And do take that contact information and follow up. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.